Merry Hartman, Merry Christmas. Okay, so maybe some people remember Bailgate. Many of you who got their meme fill with the hashtag Bailgate thing, I get it. I agree with you. The whole babies going to hell thing is pretty stupid. You know what else is stupid? Equally stupid? Saying that God's going to torture people in hell forever. That is equally retarded. And so I just want to evolve that conversation, take it over. So anybody man enough to diss on the Calvinists, let's take it the next step now. And maybe you're going to step on some toes of some friends, but eternal conscious torment in and of itself for any image bearer is equally outrageous and a denial of what Scripture teaches. So moving on from dissing the Calvinists, the hero of this truth, which is the root of the problem of the nonsense of babies going to hell, that all stems from a notion of the nature of hell, which some Calvinists who are humble, like let's say, I don't know, Chris Date, who's the leading advocate in Christian scholarship, who has demonstrated eternal conscious torment. I would argue he takes a different approach than me, but his ministry, despite him being a Calvinist, has destroyed the absolute garbage of eternal conscious torment, which is the root of the problem. Let's evolve the conversation forward. It's not just the Calvinists that are problematic here. It's eternal conscious torment advocates that garbage, along with the other ancillary or the things that developed in Christian history, like purgatory, that was used to oppress people and threaten them and make them nervous wrecks and to lord over them inappropriately according to the Bible and Jesus' teaching, is the root of the problem. So we all got our jollies off the Calvinists. Now let's move forward and take the root out. Let's nip the turd blossom that has bloomed into a poop flower in all through Christianity. Who's with me? Who's man enough to step on some toes? Anyone out there? I hope so. Because that garbage needs to go to bed, be put down finally and forever. Because God doesn't torture people forever. God's not going to perpetuate eternal bumptious chicanery in your made-up la land where souls are burning in hell forever. This is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. It's the most unbiblical idea I've ever heard. And it's time to move the conversation forward and destroy this turd of a doctrine that's unbiblical. Chris Date has demonstrated this. People should be flowing streams of money into his ministry because of what he's done. Oh, but he's a Calvinist. Oh, no. He's destroyed what some of us have known. This is the truth about how the fate of the wicked. God has, okay, here look. In the Psalms, it says, you'll look for the wicked and you will not find them. You'll look for their place. That means a place where they dwell. You'll look for that place and it will not be. They will drink it down and they shall be as though they never were. Regarding Satan in Ezekiel 28, I will bring a fire from the midst of thee. It shall devour you and never shall you be any more forever. What more do you want? They'll melt like slugs. They'll vanish like smoke. There'll be ashes under your feet. There'll be stubble. They'll be left neither root nor branch. They'll be destroyed with everlasting destruction from the presence of the Lord. And all the things I already said. I mean, what more do you want? The Bible doesn't teach eternal conscious torment. The reason babies don't go to hell is because no one goes to hell when they die. And there's a final judgment because Jesus is coming back. And when he does, and some will be devoured. I don't know. Last time I devoured my lunch or consumed it, you know what that didn't mean? It didn't mean there was a spirit sandwich dancing around going forever. It meant it was gone. All gone. God will be on all. That's what the Bible says. So hell is a fire. It's a permanent, everlasting judgment. It's by fire from God on those who are not redeemed, saved, worthy, whatever you want to call it. And they're gone. Why? Why would God torture them forever? Why would God put them in, like, I don't know, like some cavern where what? There's warm beer and no, or bad Wi-Fi or no Wi-Fi, you know? Put them away with their bad selves so that they can just be sort of gloomy and miserable. They have to play like, you know, Rook forever with cheaters, you know. You're not going to eat bonbons with Satan in hell, watching Oprah forever, as bad as that might be, okay? There is no Disneyland in hell. You don't get to go on living forever. Sorry. So, rethinking hell has destroyed the idea of eternal conscious torment. Bailgate was fun and all. Now let's go hashtag eternal conscious torment is the dumbest thing I've ever heard.com. Who's man enough to do that? I know so many people believe it, and dishing on the Calvinists has been really fun and all. But are you man enough to now kill this awful doctrine that totally distorts who God is, totally denies this Zoroastrian, Ahura Mazda, God's going to forever be opposing his opposition forever in hell, even though God, oh, but don't worry, God's in control of it. So God desperately needs or wants to perpetuate those opposing him. And if they're not opposing him forever, why would they be lost? So they have to be sinning in hell. And you're going to say God's going to perpetuate people so that they can sin forever and oppose him? Just because what? Because they're made in his image? I'll remind you that being made in God's image has nothing to do with being immortal. The Bible says God alone is immortal. What about that don't you get? You are not a little God. You do not have immortality. And if you don't have immortality intrinsically or inherently, then that would mean then now you're saying God grants them immortality purposefully. What? To keep them in opposition to him forever? What a perverted notion. What an absolute garbage theology to say such a ridiculous claim. Oh, yeah. Oh, so what is it? Does God have to put them bad souls somewhere forever because they're inherently immortal and he's got to put them somewhere? Or are you saying God keeps them alive because it's a provision of God to have life, by the way, as Irenaeus so beautifully writes, and against heresies and many other people that came before us have pointed out? You don't believe God's going to be all in all. You think God's going to have opposition forever. That's the most stupid, perverted, outrageous, retarded, ugly idea I've ever heard, and it's not biblical. Let it go, man. It's pathetic. It's a joke. It's a bad joke. Okay. I still love you if you believe it. You're just believing something you shouldn't believe. And by the way, Merry Christmas. Okay, now I'm going to go over comments just for fun. Let me see. I'm sorry, I'm really passionate about it. I think the idea of God torturing people forever or God making people miserable forever in opposition to himself is so sub-biblical. Oh, sorry, I threw up in my mouth a little. Oh, hold on. Sorry about that. Oh. Yikes. Let's see. Okay. Just give me a break. This is my personality. I don't hate anybody. I want to make friends and influence people. Okay, let's see. I mean it in fun. Okay, I hope you know that. But I do mean what I'm saying. Is total depravity true? Men are just can't do stuff. I just love this video. Check this out. So, okay, yeah. These guys are awesome. And then the naked light I admire people like that have discipline. Hopefully they can control themselves so that they don't sin in mid-flight or something, Nobody told them they're totally depraved and unable to do anything. Okay. And this is kind of, I'm not going to go into this, but like, look, if Daniel 8 is merely about Hanukkah, and the way Daniel 11 and 12 talks about the figure from Daniel 8, that would mean like the time of the end and the resurrection from the dead happened before Jesus was born. So that is not the primary meaning. You can't just say, well, it is about Hanukkah, but also it's about the final Antichrist. That is not biblical exegesis. The best you could say maybe is it's talking about the final Antichrist according to the New Testament use of Daniel, like Paul and Jesus. And you can see my videos on this in prophetic interpretation and I go through scholarship and read through scholarship. That's like, if you believe that it's about Hanukkah because you don't like the SDA interpretation, which is actually consistent, and then you hate futurism, you're being a hypocrite because you're using the same hermeneutical principle. Well, it's about Hanukkah, so it can't be, so the Adventists can't be right, but it's actually it's just kind of about the final Antichrist, that's not how that works. Yeah. Maybe you could say it's talking about the final Antichrist because that's how the New Testament writers use it. And then the things that happened in the Maccabees is like a picture of that, just like Hitler is kind of like an Antichrist. And okay, like you could say that, but you can't say the text is saying it's him, but it's really actually saying it's at the end of time. That's futurism. It's an inconsistent interpretation. So look, how far do you want to go? You can go full preterism, but really if you're consistent, you think Jesus is coming back, it doesn't work. The figure in Daniel 11 is the figure from Daniel 8 and the figure from Daniel 7, actually, which is what you're denying. But if you say, well, no one denies the figure in Daniel 11 is Daniel 8, that one is leading up right into the second coming and the resurrection from the dead. So what are you going to deny? If you make Daniel 11 about the guy in Daniel 8, then the resurrection from the dead happened, but Antiochus was before Jesus was even born. That doesn't make any sense. That wouldn't make any sense to the original audience. Sorry about that. Look into it. Okay. And this is a message I want to get. I have a lot of friends online, and I'm feeling guilty and bad because it's hard to give time to everybody like I'd like to. So to those who reach out to me, I just want you to know that I don't hate you if I miss your messages or can't always respond to you. I have like family and friends over and a lot of people I try to stay connected with. So I hope you understand that I love you dearly and I wish the world for you in the right way. Okay. Not like the world, like the Bible. Okay. Yeah. So no blue laws, please. I'm hearing a lot of people talk about, should we make America Christian again? And look, no blue laws. The Sabbath will never be Sunday. If you want to celebrate Sunday as the resurrection day every week, like it's a Sabbath for some reason, and not just every Easter, that's fine with me. But Sunday will never be the Sabbath. Your birthday, like my birthday was October, well, I shouldn't say. Let's say my birthday was July 3rd, okay? That's just a fact. So my birthday, God can't change my birthday without lying, okay? Because it's a matter of fact that I was born on the certain day. God doesn't go back in time and change the past, because if he did, then that day would be the day that it happens to be. But God doesn't do that anyway. So there's nothing in the text that makes Sunday the new Sabbath. The Sabbath is the day in the week which God created the week that God rested. And this is obvious in the text, like in Revelation, worship him who made worship him who made the heavens and the earth and the sea. That is literally a adaptation of a quote of the Sabbath commandment. Worship the Creator. And by the way, that's Jesus, Lord of the Sabbath. Worship him. The saints keep the commandments of God. And then it refers back to the Creator, same God, Jesus, Father, the Trinity, same God. Jesus didn't do away with the law. Sabbath still stands. Worship the Creator. It literally, basically, practically spells it out for you. So, yeah, Sunday will never be the Sabbath. Jesus is Lord of the Sabbath. Jesus is the Creator. Worship that guy. Okay? Sorry about history and all where people tried to change that. They didn't change it. You can't change it. You never will change it. And so, join me honoring the Sabbath God, the Creator. Okay. I mean, again, I love you if you don't, but you should rest on the Sabbath day. Let's see. I tried to make a funny video about like from Zoolander, and this is a picture from Zoolander where those male models are having a gas fight and like having fun together. And I put evangelical and Jehovah's Witness. You can watch this video. They're best friends. You guys, Jehovah's Witnesses and evangelicals both think Jesus. I mean, they both think Michael is a created being. Jehovah's Witnesses and all those who think Jesus is Michael's a created being, which he isn't because it's Jesus who's God. So evangelicals, let's say, who believe Michael's a created being, and the Jehovah's Witnesses who believe Michael's a created being. This is what they're like. This they're like they're gossiping together, going to Disneyland together, holding hands, skipping through the park, you know, having a pizza party at Chuck E. Cheese, climbing through the tubes at Chuck E. Cheese together, playing tag, you know, just Starsky and Hutch, Milo and Otis, you know, two peas in a pod, man. Making the mistake that thinking Michael is a created being. So it's so cute. You guys should go to the mall and go into one of those booths and take pictures together and put hearts, hashtag best friends forever. It's kind of a joke, right? Hopefully you get it. Let's see. Yeah. Look, I have friends who are flat earth. It's hard to like talk about this. The earth isn't flat. We've known this. I'm sorry that you thought you knew enough about it. So when someone told you a bunch of dumb stuff that you thought it was true and you bought into it, and then you use the Bible to pretend that you're being more biblical because you don't know how to read biblical literature. No offense. I'm telling you, so I want to shame you out of it a little bit. Recognize that you don't know what you're talking about. The earth is not flat. And yes, the 24-hour sun in Antarctica proves the flat earth model is ridiculous. If you don't understand that, you should say, I don't know what shape the earth is. You shouldn't say the earth is flat because you don't know what you're talking about. You're uneducated and you think you're on the same plane with people who understand things more than you. I'm just being honest, okay? This is what's happening. People know way more stuff than you do about certain things. Me too. And you don't realize that. And when someone tricked you into thinking actually the earth is flat, you thinking you know more than you do agreed to that. It was a mistake, a big mistake. You got to recognize that you don't know what you're talking about, and you should be agnostic. You should be like Steve McRae, at least, at best, right? It's people like, oh, I know the earth is flat. No, you don't. You have no model. You have no evidence. All your things are just a misunderstanding. It's embarrassing, man. The earth is a globe. We know this. We have pictures. We have video footage. There's simple, if you understand certain principles, go to a beach, lay down, watch the sun go over this horizon, stand up, you'll see the sun come back. It disappears because it goes over the horizon. That really is enough. The fact that the globe model predicts everything, the fact that we have videos, the fact that we understand solar eclipses, a million things prove the earth is a globe without actually seeing that it's a globe. But you can see that it's a globe. So you can go to my thing. This really, if you don't understand why the 24-hour sun in Antarctica doesn't prove the flat earth model wrong, if you don't understand that that's the case, you should stop saying the earth is flat and study more. Last thing, or two last things here. I love this video. It's on not really my friend, but someone whose channel I like, who goes to the same church as I do. Did this video with Chris Date. I suggest you check it out. Have Christians been wrong? My friend Richard Firk says, no, they haven't been wrong. It's definitely hellfire. By the way, we don't disagree that there's hellfire. It's an event of judgment with fire. So we're not saying there's no hellfire. In fact, we believe our hell is hotter than yours because it actually burns stuff up. You believe in the hellfire that can't consume, like the text says. So the answer is yes, Christians have been wrong about what hell final judgment is. And Chris, again, a beautiful job demonstrating that. And he should be supported by everybody who understands that truth, whether he's a Calvinist or not, whether he believes in penal substitution atonement or not. I wish more people recognize the contribution Chris has done to the greater Christian community. His channel should have way more subscribers and should receive way more support instead of just being crapped on because he's a Calvinist. I'm sick of it. His contribution about hell is way greater than any of the anti-Calvinist stuff, even though I like some of that because I'm not a Calvinist either. I'm a 0-point Calvinist, but you can be a Christian in that. But going with all the history with eternal conscious torment and that false understanding, all the damage that's done and the way it's distorted the mind of people who go around threatening people with it, is just as damning as any other theology. Okay. So much will flow out of that if Christians understand that, in my opinion. Okay, last thing. Merry Christmas again. If you celebrate Christmas, if you don't, I understand. I don't think it's pagan, but I do think it's not a big deal. We don't really we hardly celebrate it here at all. We're not sitting around the tree or anything. Okay, and this was a message I really wanted to send out to Answering Adventism, which I think is a joke ministry. I have no time for anyone who has problems with the atonement of SDA. If you believe the atonement is limited, so I'm crapping on hardcore Calvinists here, but this is really directed at someone who lies about Adventists and misrepresents us constantly. Because I get the people from his channel and they come over to my channel and they say the dumbest stuff and they're the most fomenting at the mouth people. And so but I already knew that was going to be the fruit of his ministry. He doesn't do this like a Christian would, but he doesn't think we're Christians for some reason. But look, I got no time for people who think the atonement was limited and that babies are guilty. Telling me that Seventh-day Adventist atonement theory or theories, there's different people have different ideas to some degree, okay? Telling me that SDA atonements are heresy if you believe babies are born guilty and that the atonement is limited, something that all Christians throughout history have denied, even the early Calvinists, okay? Sin still happens. God isn't done fixing the world. If you don't agree with that, then you're a heretic. And I don't bother flapping your gums at Seventh-day Adventists. You're just a Charlie Brown's Christmas to me, a blizzard of false hobo piety, a burning Yule log, expelling noxious gas, or a scared child throwing a hissy fit. Remember the Sabbath, God's 10 commandments. They're in the temple in heaven right now, according to Revelation, where Jesus is ministering from the throne of God in the most holy place. So look, you're a joke to me. And again, if Miles from Answering Adventism sees this, I want to know, do you suppose that Desmond Doss is wiggling around in a burning in hell right now since you think hell exists right now in your ridiculous doctrine of hell? Dude, that stuff's a joke, man. Give it a rest. Make me sick. Merry Christmas, though, and a Happy New Year, you filthy animal.